Hey, this is Karlova Design. I design leatherwork patterns, and in this video I'm gonna show you how to make two beautiful leaf trays. These patterns are available as one package at karlovadesign.com as well as my Etsy store. You can find links in the description. Let's go ahead and get started. First of all, print the pattern at 100% scale. You can find the printing video on my channel. Cut out the pieces, and let's go ahead and speak about leather choices. The leather for these projects should be pretty stiff and thick, starting at about 5.5–6 ounces, which is like thicker than 2 millimeters. Better if it's vegetable tanned. It's not required, but then you have a lot of options to play with dyes, and you can do some wet molding after you make it, so you can get really creative with this option. I'm using waxed Italian veg at about 2.2 mil, and the second project is made with some chrome tan, which is medium temper, and that was not a good choice. I just chose it because of the color. I needed some yellow, and I didn't have anything of that color except that one. Overall, I would recommend using veg because it also has better structure. So in terms of tools, you're not gonna need much. I'm using 4mm stitching irons. This is what this pattern is designed for. You're gonna need scissors, mallets, needles, and the thread, and that's pretty much it. You can replace scissors with a knife if it's your preferred way of cutting. And here we go. Each leaf consists of 3 parts. There's a right side, the left side, and the stem. On the stem, you need to mark that hole where you start stitching it onto the main body, or just count from the end. It's 10th and 11th hole, if I'm not lying to you right now, but it's marked on the pattern. It would be nice to give the edges a finished look, not just to the leaves, but also to the stem. I didn't finish the edges on the second one because it was impossible due to the type of leather it's made of. And start stitching the dots. You can basically use any type of flat stitching style. This kind of stitching is a little bit more suitable for this project. It's like parallel but a little different. You watch how I do it. You can use also a baseball stitch or parallel or whatever. I just like the look of this one better. This stitching looks like a double saddle stitch, and the stitching is done the way that the thread is switched from side to side, from one side to another with every stitch. And I must mention here that every dart has different amount of holes on each side. One side has one hole more than the other. I just don't want you to get scared and think that you screwed something up, because this is how it's made, and I'm gonna show you how to finish off those seams so they look neat. And also keep in mind that the last hole is gonna be hidden under the stem. Be careful and do not over tighten those seams. They should be tight, but not too tight. You can trim whatever is sticking out, but keep an eye on the stitching line, because the stitching line will straighten out when we put the stem on. Next, a good idea would be to knock the seams with a hammer a little bit to straighten them and set them in place. The buffing isn't necessary, but as you might have noticed, I love to buff everything everywhere. Just continue and stitch all 6 darts the same way. Now it's time to attach the stem, and I hope you marked that hole. If not, you can always count from the shorter end, see what number is on the pattern and count 10 or 11 holes from the end to find that hole where you started touching the leaf to the stem. Until that hole, you just stitch one layer of leather, but you can tighten that seam pretty strongly to make it curl. I must mention that for the stem you better take a pretty long thread, so you don't have to change the thread in the middle. Just take the side of the leaf and start stitching it on along that straight stitching line, and then at the point you just turn, and if you watch closely you'll understand how to do that turn, and just stitch back all the way to the end of the stem. I'm not adding any comments here because I'm not sure I can explain it in words better than I could just show it to you. And by the way, if you are going to scale this pattern into some smaller size, pay attention to this narrow part of the point of the stem. Maybe you will have to use the original sized stem and just trim it off, rather than making this stem even smaller, because it's going to become probably too narrow to work with. Although it depends how small you're gonna make it, probably it's gonna survive scaling down to 60 or 75% with no problem. And again, tighten this part of the seam so the end of the stem gets naturally curly. So the second leaf is pretty much the same as the first one. It's absolutely the same process, a little bit more holes on the end of the leaf, therefore the stem is a little longer, but otherwise it's just different edge and nothing at all different. So the leather for this one is a little bit too soft. You could see when I showed you the hide, it's something that is a little too soft for this project, so please choose something on the more on the stiffer side. All I can say about these projects is they are very quick, very satisfying, and they have a certain wow effect on people. So these are gonna make great gifts, and you can find the pattern links in the description. Also, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel so you will not miss the next awesome project that I'm making right now.